Hey everyone, this is Sonnet, and I hope you guys are doing really well, and I hope you've been well too. I've been doing pretty okay myself. I do apologize if I sound a little weird. I have allergies. There's a lot of pollen in my area, and I'm just happy the sun is back out. But anyway, I wanted to update you guys really quickly on what's been going on because I know a lot of you have been feeling this energy a bit strange, a bit funky, a bit intense maybe. And so if you have been feeling this way, you are not alone. A lot of us have been feeling all sorts of ways. And that's because we have a lot going on right now, you guys. We have so much happening behind the scenes, a lot of energy coming through from our sun, from the galactic center, and it's affecting us physically and in so many other ways. This year is very, very significant. This is a very active year, and we can see that by the planetary alignments, the downloads that we get, what we sense, what we feel, it's just so many other things. But this energy that we are in right now, it actually started to come through last year in August in 2017 when we had the solar eclipse. So during and after, that's when that energy started to come through. That was sort of like a gateway to this energy that we are in right now. And so, of course, it's been affecting everybody differently because we're all on different waves. We are at different stages, and so it affects us differently, but it's been affecting us nonetheless. And sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's intense, so it does have its ups and its downs. But it is affecting us. The only difference between this year and last year is that this year things are moving so rapidly for us, so things are really accelerating so much more. We have a lot going on with timelines. We have timelines that are collapsing, timelines that are shrinking themselves, timelines that are merging into one. So many timelines are merging into one right now, which is also changing our perception of ourselves, of our reality, of the way we see things. It's changing our dream time as well because, the vibration is completely renewing and shifting itself. So if you have been feeling this way, like maybe you don't feel like yourself anymore, or you wake up feeling different all the time, then it's because you are experiencing the shift. So there's a lot going on right now. So many of us have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Some of you are aware of it, some of you are not. I myself have been doing a lot of gridding, a lot of templating, a lot of integrating to the max, which is why I've been absent a lot, because when we go through intense integrating, it does require a lot of alone time. It requires a lot of self-focus, and so the energy isn't there to do other things. So those of you that do have busy lifestyles out there, I can see how intense it is for you guys, because on top of your daily lives, you also are being downloaded, you are being integrated, so it can get quite hectic. It's an actual project, what we're doing here, what we're going through. But hang in there, you guys, because we do acclimate to the energy. One of the concerns that I do get quite a bit is that a lot of people out there, you guys tell me, well, why is it that whenever we go through a shift, okay, or whenever we get like an energetic wave of some sort or a shift, why do I feel the intensity of it so much more, and people at work or my family, they don't feel it as much as I do? The reason for that, you guys, is because right now, not everybody on the planet is activated. Not everybody is ascending right now. But if you are on the twin flame journey, if you are a light worker, or if you are simply ascending, we are the forerunners of ascension. We are the ones grounding the energy and taking it in to distribute. So we are the ones that download all this incoming energy before anybody else. We have access to energy that other people don't. So, it can be challenging sometimes, but it is very rewarding because you are completely transforming yourselves, so there's a lot of good behind it, but hang in there because it does get better. Actually, right now, the universe wants us to integrate as much as possible and as fast as possible because the plan here, so this Ascension orchestration is intelligent. It's there is a process to this. So the plan was to activate ourselves, our twins, of course, and then after that, activate our family and friends and so on and so forth. So there's this year is really active for that. There's a lot of awakenings that will begin to take place. So when we say that we are the light, it's because we are, and we are extending that to our loved ones, and then it'll continue on that way. It's quite interesting because just in the last few weeks, I've noticed that my mom has been activated. I've extended that light to her, and it's funny to me, kind of, because she expresses to me that she's feeling all of these symptoms, feeling out of body. Her dream time is ridiculous, all the things that she's doing and working through. And she tells me about it. Or feeling, the headaches or feeling the lightheadedness and all of this stuff. Or feeling a lot of energy. And, I know what it is. Because everything that she's going through, I went through that back in 2004 when I was activated. And thank goodness I'm over all of that stuff. But I see her going through all that. And of course, I can't really tell her exactly what she's going through because she does not have the consciousness capacity to fully understand and grasp what is happening, what's going on. I mean, she may hear me out, but she may not understand it. So if you guys, and when you notice and start noticing that your loved ones are going through activations or, something like that, don't try to drill it into them, you guys, because they may not fully understand you. They have to be... It is literally a vibration of consciousness. So if they aren't there, they're not going to fully understand. So you just have to allow them to go through that kind of like you have to allow them to go up the ladder until they can finally understand. Because a lot of people out there who are asleep, they don't fully understand what's going on, even if they hear about all of this stuff. So that's what's happening. There's a lot going on this year. And why is it happening right now? Why are there more activations going on? It's because, we have really set the foundation for it. We've really been lighting up the grid. Most of the grid is lit up. So that is pretty amazing. And so now we can begin to extend it. So there's a lot of good stuff going on right now, and I want to make a video about this and dedicate a whole video to this because there's just so much happening this year. And we were told at the beginning of the year to, hey, hold fast, hang in there because things are going to be moving so quickly. Changes within ourselves are going to begin to take place. Changes outside of ourselves. From now until 2020, hey, this is the energy that we are under. So, prepare yourselves for that. Do whatever it is that you have to do. Make your body physically stronger to be able to adapt to this energy. So something else that I wanted to mention really quickly is that there is a notion out in the Twin Flame Collective that if you are the awakened twin, that your beloved, your sleeping twin, is not activated. And that's not the case at all. Actually, that's not true at all. So if you are awakened and activated, although your twin may be sleeping, they are activated as well. So it takes one twin. So if one is activated, the other one is activated as well. Your union is activated. So there's really nothing to worry about there. However, I will say, though, that believe it or not, you guys, I talk to a lot of twins, and believe it or not, there are many, many cases where the sleeping twin is actually more energetically advanced than the awakened twin. So although you may be conscious and you may be the one that has recognition, your twin, your sleeping twin, may be way more advanced energetically. And so this does happen. There's a lot of cases where the sleeping twin is higher up in balance and in energy, and they are holding space, and they are held asleep and unconscious until the awakened twin balances out their energies and goes through the clearing and the purging. And so once the awakened twin reaches that level, the sleeping twin will gain consciousness and wake up. That happens a lot. I've seen it happen, and that was my case as well. When I first met my twin, he was actually more energetically advanced than I was, and I had to go through, collapsing some stuff, clearing, purging some stuff. So it does happen. It happens, and all of this stuff is very surprising and interesting. So that may be the case for you. And also, I know a lot of twins feel like just because we are awake, that we are the ones that are more advanced, that we are the ones that have more knowledge, we are the ones that are more prepared. And so sometimes we feel like maybe our twin isn't doing anything. Like maybe they're not doing the work, and that's not always the case. A lot of sleeping twins are the ones that are actually leading. They are the ones that have incarnated at this level with certain connections that have already been activated, but they are just at a unconscious state right now until certain energy levels out. And that's what's happening all around the planet. So really take that into consideration, and don't feel bad about maybe your twin isn't doing anything. But anyway, so something else I wanted to talk about today was synchronicity, because this does come up a lot. It comes up so much, where I will talk to people, to twins that may feel like maybe you had faith at one point at the beginning, and then now you feel very disillusioned because you're no longer getting the signs. You're no longer having dreams. You're no longer seeing 1111 everywhere, or seeing the number sequences or anything like that. You may feel distant from your twin. And so all of that makes you kind of spiral into doubt. It makes you feel like, well, maybe I'm not a twin. Maybe this isn't happening. Maybe I'm crazy. And this does happen, you guys. It happens to all of us. And I've said this before, that as long as we are in these vessels, we will never be perfect. Because, come on, we are functioning on a carbon-based brain, So the ego is always going to kick in. The mind is always going to kick in. The key is to not dwell in those things, in those lower emotions, and allow them to come through us, but don't dwell in them. But it is very normal to sometimes feel the doubt. And like I said, this process, this twin flame journey is a process. There is actual procedure to this. There is strategy to this. Some things do have to happen. Some things do have to unfold before others do. Our journeys are different for everybody. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. But there is intelligence to all of this. We are actually connected to our higher selves. We have a direct link to our higher selves, the universe, God, source energy. And so there is an intelligence to this. So even synchronicity in itself is intelligent, and we do go through our seasons where sometimes it's really heightened and active, and then sometimes it becomes muted and it kind of dies down a little bit, but there's a reason for that. Synchronicity it serves as confirmation to the path that we are on. It also serves as guidance. It's communication between us and spirit. So I'll just give you a bit of my history with this, because the way things happen for me is quite interesting. So a few years ago when I met my twin, I had that instant spiritual soul recognition. I didn't know at that time that we were twins. I had no idea about twin flames, but I still had that, I knew we were connected, I knew it. But it wasn't until a couple years later that I found out about twin flames. It was told to me, it came to me. So I started to do a lot of research, and being the person that I am, really logical, I need proof before I can believe something. And so sometimes I do need to get hit over the head to believe it. And that's just me, So I did a lot of research, and it was a battling time for me because I knew what I was feeling. But I also knew what my mind, my ego was also saying. So what I started to notice is that as soon as I found out about twin flames, right away the next day, I started to see 1111 everywhere. I started to see the number sequences like 10:10 a.m., 11:11, 12:12 p.m., 1:11, 2:22, 3:33, 4:44, 5:55, so on and so forth, every single day, all day. Billboards, microwaves, cable boxes, phones, commercials. I started to see my twin's name even more. I started to see the word twin flame. Not twin flame. I started to see the word twin everywhere. And so license plates, everything. But what I noticed though was that when I was in a state of doubt, or when I was really doubting this, or even when I wanted to cut the connection because it had been following me for a couple years, and I wanted to just cut it and push it away. At that time, I noticed that the synchronicity for me doubled, it even tripled, and it intensified. I even got to points where when I was really doubting it, or when I was very depressed, going through my dark night of the soul, or through a really heavy purge, my twin's songs, his music would begin to play on my phone on its own without me touching it. I'd be driving and his music would start to play by itself. Our higher selves and spirit, they do have the energy and the capacity to do this, to turn on our television, our phones, our electronics. These signs do come through. So anyway, after a year and a half of, after my awakening, of getting the heavy synchronicity, and also the messages, the signs, and feeling my twin's energy so strongly, it had been very supernatural, very metaphysical. So along with all of that, I also started to access my own Akash, where I started to regress energetically and remember my lives with my twin. I started to remember other federations, other tribes that we belong to, other things we've done. I started to also get integrated and downloaded with information. So all of the confirmation and the signs, because you guys, this journey as a twin flame, it's out of this world. And I did have days where I was battling with myself. I was like, come on, is this really real? Who am I? What's going on? What is this? And I would, it was a real time. And I talked to the universe. I talk to God, to my higher self, and I would get angry. I would. And the responses that I would get were instant. Some of these confirmations that I would get were so unrebukable that I just could not push it away or doubt it anymore. So after a year and a half, I for sure knew who we were. I knew for sure that this is my twin, and we are definitely connected, because he did things that correlated to me, plus the energy and the knowing and all of this stuff. My faith was deeply rooted. It was very well established at that point. So the synchronicity itself started to die down because I had that knowledge. I had that, the knowing very deeply rooted. So it was unshakable at that point thereafter. So I didn't really need all the synchronicity anymore as much. Now, synchronicity does never go away. It doesn't ever go away. We will continue to get it, to receive it. Like I said, it is guidance. Now, some people, they do require validation all the time. Some people do need consistent reassurance and validation and proof, whereas other people don't need as much proof. There are those people who, start leading and stop following. And so, we become more conscious, more wise, more knowledgeable, because we are awake. And so we don't need constant confirmation all the time, because we've reached a level where we know who we are. But what happens too after that is that anytime we are doing the right thing, anytime we are in alignment with our soul purpose, with what we should be doing, the synchronicity itself will be very present, very active. So if you feel like you are in a situation where you were getting all the synchronicity before, and the dreams, and you used to feel your twin all the time, and then now you don't, is because a lot of the times, you guys, what happens is that it's now time to do the work. Okay, it's now time to expand. It's now time to go through that self-mastery, to wake up, to work on yourselves, to ground the energy, to be that beacon of light, and extend it. So it doesn't mean that you are no longer on this path or on this journey. So if you did at one point receive that calling, the 1111, but you're not seeing 1111 anymore. But if you did at one point, that was your calling. The 1111 is the gateway to multidimensionality. It is the calling to awakening. It's a doorway. So once you've entered that doorway, once you've received that calling, you're in it. You've been activated. So it's now time to do the work. And also, please remember that at this level, we do have free will. We do have guidance from our higher selves, our guides, God, the universe. So anytime you feel lost, don't be afraid to ask for it. Ask for guidance, ask for confirmation. Most of the time, I didn't just get all the synchronicity and the messages and the signs simply because I wasn't doing anything. I actually asked for it and I received it. So you have to be doing the same thing. You have to be connecting to your higher self, your highest self, which is your highest light, who you are at the spirit core. So you have to be connecting to that, and you will definitely get responses. But I just want you guys to know that just because the synchronicity isn't as active anymore, that you are no longer a twin, or that this may not be your twin. There's a lot of other things going on. And the way we get these messages, when you ask for them, you can get them in any way. They can come through in music, in songs, in on billboards, flyers. People can walk by us and say something. You'll get it on the radio. In dreams, you'll get it as a thought. You'll get it as a memory. It depends. Sometimes the way we get these messages are ridiculously funny and out of this world. You just have to be awake to it. And I'll just give you a really quick example. Valentine's Day for twin flames can be a bit bittersweet, especially to those of us that are still going through the process or who are in separation or in between. It can be a bittersweet time. So this year I was at the store and, I was seeing all of this stuff everywhere. And there were beautiful, gorgeous women with their hair done and all dressed up. And there were guys buying chocolates and roses and all of this stuff. And I was in line buying dinner. And I felt like I was just looking horrible that night. And I was thinking to myself, golly, it's Valentine's night. And here I am in my workout clothes with my hair up and my tennis shoes, my sneakers. I look horrible. Like if my twin saw me right now, he'd freak out, And so I was feeling really bummed out. And so on my way out, when I got into my car, I turned on the radio. And the first song and lyrics that came on were, "You look perfect tonight." And I was like, what? Like, really? Like, get out of here. And, it was funny to me. But then it was not. Because I was feeling so down on myself that, hey, it's Valentine's Day and, there is someone out there and I look horrible and all of this stuff. And then, I heard you look perfect tonight. And so, of course, these things are guided by our higher selves, our twins' higher selves. The moment in time and the time manipulation by our higher selves, having me walk in the car, having me turn to that station at that precise moment. It's like timeline manipulation and all of this stuff that our higher selves will do and arrange and rearrange to get us these signs. So look out for it. And this is what I mean, and what I want you guys to know is that your twin's higher self is always with you. You are that one higher self at the end of the day. You're always with each other. You are one and the same. So yeah, and I know a lot of you guys do also question, well, how do I know if this is my twin? That question has become very delicate, but we really cannot explain. We cannot explain how to identify if someone is your twin, because it's something that we feel. It's an energy that we feel. We just know it. We know it at a spirit level. It's in our spirit core. That inner knowing is in our spirit core. And at this level, we know it from a very deep cellular level that this is our twin. We just know it. Believe it or not, you guys, there are actual light codes embedded in the faces of our twins in their bodies. For example, I myself can identify the points of recognition in my twin's face. For example, around the cheeks, the marma points, around the lips, the third eye, all that area. I can see the essence, and so I know it because we are one and the same. I have that essence recognition. So that's how you can tell, and only you can see that, because those are the light codes of your essence that your soul recognizes, is the embodiment of your twin. Your soul has that recognition. So that's how it works. It's like no one else can tell you that, because you have to recognize that. So another thing that is really interesting is that I've spoken to so many twins of all walks of life. And I remember speaking to a client of mine who is a psychologist, very intelligent man. But he found himself experiencing this twin flame stuff. And what he did was he tried to rewire his brain so that he could go back to that memory of when he first encountered his twin flame and actually rewrite it. So he tried to reset his amygdala, and he tried to rewire it and reset it. So what he found himself doing was that he had several sessions of doing this to himself, and it didn't work. And you know, he didn't know what to say. He was baffled because, you know, he was telling me, well, how is it that I can pretty much reset the brain and the trace of the memory and the effect of other things and other connections, but I can't do this with this very specific person. And the reason for that is because twin flames are not connected at a physical level. It's not the brain. We're not connected through a chakra. So we're not connected through attraction, physical attraction, or just merely sexual attraction. You know, we're not connected via a lower chakra. We are connected in the spirit. We are one and the same. I mean, how do you go back and rewire your brain to forget yourself? It's like you can't do that, because the essence always remains. It doesn't matter what you do to the body. The essence, the spirit, the soul always remains. This is just a shell. This is a vessel. What's also interesting about this, you guys, is that, you know, the body is a magnificent phenomenon. It's amazing. The body is always trying to continuously and constantly heal itself. So even when it comes to emotional matters, let's say that there is someone who doesn't want to be part of your life anymore, and they push you away, they forsake you, they, you know, separate, okay? They break up with you. They don't want to have anything to do with you any longer. Well, even after a few years have passed, what will happen at that point is that your own brain will somehow suppress that, and that memory will be no longer. So your brain will suppress that. Your emotions will either become suppressed or erased, or you will forget about that person or become numb to it. That's what happens. You know, time and what the body does will numb it. Some people do take longer than others, but when it comes to twin flames, that doesn't happen, because the body may try to do its function, but the connection remains. So it doesn't matter what you do. You may try to cut the cord. You may try to reset your brain, your amygdala, whatever part of your brain, and it will not go away. So you have to really reevaluate what's going on in your situation. If it's been a couple years or 3 years and you have not received a major staple of confirmation that this is the person that you are connected to, that this is your twin, then perhaps you need to reevaluate that connection, because you will know, you will receive, trust me, if you are an authentic twin flame or twin soul, you will know when someone is your twin, because you will receive that confirmation, that inner knowing, without a doubt. So if it's been a few years and you forget about a person, but then all of a sudden they come back and you're doubting it, you're questioning it, perhaps, I hate to say it, perhaps it's not a twin. Perhaps you have to reevaluate that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, you guys. We're all divine beings. We're just different types of beings, you know. But anyway, I will leave you guys with this. I've spoken enough. So if you guys have been feeling anything, if you've been noticing your dream states change, if you've been experiencing anything out of the ordinary, please let us know, because a lot of things are changing right now, literally, you guys. So let us know what you've been experiencing. If you would like to book a session, I would love to connect with you and help you out. I am available, so reach out to me if you need to. Other than that, hang in there, stay safe. I love you guys. And until next time, bye everybody.